by my most important name, Mom. I'm a single mother of 3 adopted children. They're watching in Minnesota right now. And, hi kids. And I'm here tonight supporting Donald Trump. Because, like most Americans, I refuse to leave my kids a country that is worse off than the ones that my parents left me. Now, my grandparents were Polish immigrants. My parents, they grew up in Depression-era New England. My dad, he enlisted in the Navy in World War II. My mom, she waited tables until she was 73 years old. My dad, he worked at his car wash. My parents flew the flag at our house, and not just on the 4th of July. And they scrimped and saved. My mother made my clothes. She wore the same winter coat for 40 years. Any extra money in our house went into the bank for our education. And we learned that there is dignity in every job. Every job. No matter what you do. My brothers, they picked tobacco and delivered newspapers. I picked blueberries and raked lawns. We did what we had to do. You see, my parents didn't believe there were jobs that Americans wouldn't do. In the early 70s, I was a little kid, and I remember watching the news with my mom at night. And one night I asked her, I said, "Ma, why are people burning the American flag?" And she looked at me and she answered, "Honey, because their parents didn't teach them about respect." You would have loved my mother. Respect. Respect. We see it in decline in America once again. The people don't respect the government. The government doesn't respect the people, not even our veterans. Politicians, they don't respect the Constitution. Many do not respect the life of the infant in the womb or the elderly who languish alone. Others, they don't respect the police. The men and women who risk their lives every day for every one of us. And, hey, many in public office, we know this all too well, don't we? Many in public office don't enforce or respect the rule of law. Isn't that right, Mrs. Clinton? That's right. Too many citizens Too many citizens and non-citizens don't respect our laws either. And many of our allies, they don't respect us anymore. My friends, it is really sad, it's heartbreaking to see this happen to the country that we love. This is our home. It belongs to us, to our children, to our grandchildren. It's where our dead are buried. And we deserve better, and we can do better. Like us, Donald Trump understands that we have to turn this around. We have to restore respect across all levels of society. Unlike us, Hillary Clinton believes the status quo is just fine because she helped create it. Donald Trump knows that a nation without borders isn't a nation at all. But Hillary Clinton, she doesn't believe in borders. Donald Trump knows that a country must put its citizens first, its own people first. Now, what about Hillary Clinton? Hillary Clinton thinks America is just another nation and a global order. Donald Trump, he understands that America's greatness, it comes from her people. It comes from her freedom. It comes from Hillary Clinton. Well, she believes our greatness can only be found in the ever-growing, bloated government bureaucracy that only she, Her Majesty, can rule over. You can almost see the robes being placed over her shoulders. She believes that there's a government solution for every problem. No, Hillary, you're the problem. I was thinking about it back when I was in high school, back in 1979. We were in a mess back then too, right? We waited in line for gas. We waited for our hostages to come home. We waited for someone to convince us that the long national nightmare would soon be over. And then Ronald Reagan rode in just in time to restore our national confidence. Oh, he's watching us today. He's watching. He rode in to restore our national confidence, restore our economy, and our military. Today, many of our people wait for jobs. We wait for a strategy, any strategy, to keep us safe. And our veterans, they die waiting for decent care. Well, everybody, with Donald J. Trump, thank God that wait is over. It's done. Now, Donald Trump has pledged to work tirelessly to get our country back on track. I want to say this very plainly. We should all, even all you boys with wounded feelings and bruised egos, And we love you. We love you. But you must honor your pledge to support Donald Trump now. Tonight. Tonight. I hope they're listening to you. I hope they are listening. My friends, this is the most important election since 1980. I worked for Ronald Reagan, and I remember before he came along, we had, things were bad. But today, we have stagnating wages, we have skyrocketing healthcare costs, doubling of the debt, the threat of ISIS, the rise of China. And the Democrats' answer to all that is to nominate the woman who helped to orchestrate America's decline. Now think about it, think about it. That has to be some cruel joke, like skinny jeans on men or man buns or something like that. That's a bad joke. Now, I don't want to sit around and tell my kids stories someday about how great America used to be. Do you? We never give up. We rise to every challenge. We fight and we win. We're Americans. And we need America, we need a president who believes in the Constitution and who will fight for us, not against us, treat us like an ally, not an enemy, fight alongside with us. We are not the enemy, we're the people. We're not your servants. You're ours. And to all my friends, they're way up there in the press. I see you. Hello. Hello. To all my friends up there in the press. You all know why in your heart Donald Trump won the Republican nomination. You know it. You know why he won it? Because he dared to call out the phonies, the frauds, and the corruption that has gone unexposed and uncovered for too long. Too long. Do your job. Doing your job is a novel concept. And by the way, people on another cable network were talking about how there was no energy in the room last night. Why don't you sit here with the people? What a joke. America is on to you. Donald Trump respects us enough to tell us the hard truth about what has happened to our country on issues like immigration, trade, our diminished status around the world, even in the face of unfair criticism and sheer hatred. They had their chance. Now, it's our chance. America, let us tonight go forth and reject the politics of division. Let's defeat the Clinton machine. Let's send the consultants, the pollsters, and the lobbyists packing. Let's give the power back to the people. And let's elect Donald Trump, President of the United States. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Businessman Phil Ruffin.
Hello, my name is Phil Ruffin. Donald and I have been friends for over 20 years and business partners. I can tell you as a friend, he has been unbelievable. Donald's word is his bond. If Donald tells you something, you put it in the bank. He's been my partner and friend, and believe me, his handshake is better than any contract you will ever write. Innovator, entrepreneur. No one in business works harder than Donald Trump. Sometimes he works 20 hours a day. I worry about it. He can see things that others cannot see. He'll look at a deal and make something incredible out of it. We were in New York on Park Avenue and 58. There was a building called the GE building. I didn't like it. I said, Donald, stay away from it. He bought it, made $200 or $300 million on a deal. That's what he does. We're in Palm Beach with Robert Kraft. Donald had a house on the ocean. He paid $40 million for it. I didn't like it. I thought it was a mess. He sold it for $100 million. Shows you what I know. As a result of his vision, he's put tens of thousands of American workers to work. And these are high-paid jobs on construction. If any of you do construction, you know $40 or $50 an hour. It's not unusual. He's done this in many of the nation's greatest states. Chicago, where's Chicago? He's done it in Chicago. New York, where's New York? He does it in New York. You know what he does in New York. His name is all over the place. Miami. Where's Miami? He just bought Darrell Country Club, and you know what he does? And he has that Mar-a-Lago. He loves Florida. Let me tell you about, Las Vegas, Nevada. This is one of the deals we did together. Donald and I built the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas. Beautiful hotel, all the Trump amenities. He knows how to build. He builds them with detail. We had almost 1,300 units, and they were sold out in 90 days. 90 days. But then, that was 2007, and 2008, nobody could close. the recession hit. The banks shut down. So here we were stuck. 75%, only 300 units sold. 75% of them were empty. What do? We had $500 million in debt. What do? Donald does not give up. He says, let's go forward with this project. We'll put the money in. We will make the damn thing work. And he did. By the way, we put in $30 million apiece in 4 years. He didn't squawk, wired the money in. I believed him. I believe in him. I always have believed in him. I think he's tough. He's smart. He knows what he's doing. He always pays his bills promptly. You won't hear that. Promptly, with no discounts. Nobody lost any money on it. Today, we have 80% sold. We have no debt. We've paid off all that debt. And so we're going to make a lot of money on it. It's become a huge success. He wants to do the same thing for the country. Believe me, he will. His mind works like that. Instead of thinking of Donald Trump, he will think of the country. So he's a developer, extraordinary. He's an entrepreneur, like nobody you've ever seen. He is a leader. He wants to lead this country. When he first told me, we were in Mar-a-Lago, he first told me he was going to run for president. I said, Donald, are you sure you want to do this? You're king of the world. You have everything you want. Why would you want to do this? He said, simply, I love this. I love America. Our system is broken, and I am going to fix it. That's what America needs now. A fighter, an innovator, someone that knows what the hell he's doing. And believe me, Donald can do it all. I know him like I knew a brother. I love the man. He will make this country great again. Go, Donald. See you in Washington. A tsunami is coming. His name is Donald Trump. Thank you.
Please give a warm welcome to Florida's Attorney General, Pam Bondi.
November 8th is a day of reckoning for all those who have abused their power. It's the day when we, the people, will take back our government. From Washington bureaucrats playing doctor with our health care, to a president who's been playing fast and loose with our constitutional rights and Russian roulette with our borders. November 8th is when America feels safe again. Because that's when America wins again. Because winning this election means reclaiming something to which I've dedicated my entire career, the rule of law. Laws that make our neighborhoods safe, laws that make our economy strong, laws that apply equally to everyone. And Louisiana, now more than ever, laws that back our law enforcement. They have our backs, and Donald Trump will have your backs. But today, these laws are under siege by a president determined to ignore laws he doesn't like, and by a former Secretary of State who believes the laws don't apply to her. And by the way, she deserves no security clearance. How do you become President of the United States when you have no security clearance? This lawlessness must stop right here, right now. Donald Trump will stop it. Lock her up, I love that. Stay with me. Donald is going to roll back Obama's unconstitutional executive orders. Hang on. Donald's going to roll back Obama's unconstitutional orders. He will enforce our immigration laws to keep us safe while allowing legal immigrants to bless this nation with their talents and their dreams. And California, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, Donald Trump will take control of our borders. Because we must stop the influx of cocaine and heroin coming into our country and my state, killing our kids. Oh, and then there's this. Hillary believes our enemies, this is unreal. Hillary believes our enemies deserve our respect and empathy. Donald Trump believes terrorists deserve to die. Hillary will stack the Supreme Court with liberal justices who will allow government to continue its rampage against our individual rights with utter contempt for our Second Amendment. I know Donald, and I am proud to know Donald. He will appoint conservative justices who will defend rather than rewrite our Constitution. I have one question for all of you here today. Are you ready to send ISIS a message that we are really coming after them? When Donald Trump is president, he will. So America, on November 8th, remember this. If you believe in limited government, if you believe in our historic constitutional rights, if you believe in the rule of law, if you believe it's time for America to start acting like America again, there is only one choice in this election: Donald Trump. America's for Trump, and so am I. God bless America, and God bless the Trump family. Thank you.
For centuries, the dream had beckoned from night skies, sparked in the light of a million stars on quiet, clear summer nights, it ignited the minds of fearless and determined individuals who summoned the courage to break the rules of gravity. 47 years ago, on July 20th, 1969, a young man from Ohio took one giant leap for mankind. We celebrate the memory and selfless courage of Neil Armstrong and the Apollo 11 team. And were Armstrong here tonight, he would remind us of all those who came before him to make his journey into history possible. Like those two young brothers from just down the road in Dayton. Orville and Wilbur built and perfected the first successful airplane in world history in the back of their bicycle shop. And before we knew it, the race for space was on. By 1958, the nation committed to winning, and NASA was born. The skies were no longer the limit. America aimed for the moon and the stars. And while all that was happening, another young hero from Cambridge, Ohio, was writing his own chapter. A decorated fighter pilot and combat veteran, John Glenn became the first American to orbit the Earth on February 20th, 1962. Soon, brave women emerged. Beyond breaking glass ceilings, they broke sound barriers and the Earth's atmosphere. Happily, you'll meet one of them in a moment. At the age of 23, Eileen Collins became the first female flight instructor in the history of the United States Air Force. In 1995, Colonel Collins became the first woman to pilot the space shuttle. Later, she became the first to command a space shuttle mission. Then, after the nation grieved our loss of Space Shuttle Columbia, Eileen Collins fearlessly led our first mission back into space. When she brought it back safely, the whole world breathed a sigh of relief. America's astronauts, striving to see their country achieve greatness, inspired by those starlit skies on clear nights and the accomplishments of those pioneers who preceded them. What is it about this great country, where so many have risked so much and traveled so far into the heavens? There are many answers in the eyes of these brave men and women, but there is one they all share in their hearts. They loved their country so deeply, they were willing to risk their lives to keep it strong and make it great. So when you look to the heavens tonight, take a minute to thank God for each and every one of them. And say an extra prayer that the U.S. will soon reclaim its rightful place as the leader in space exploration. Because we will summon the courage and strength to make America great again. So when future astronauts look up to the night sky and dream of taking their turn, they will know that their country is waiting for them. Greatness abounds, and once again, the stars are the limit.
Please welcome Colonel Eileen Collins, the first woman to command a space shuttle mission.
Good evening. It's great to be here with you tonight. Thank you. From the moment the first pilgrims arrived on our shores, Americans have been asking, what's next? We are a nation built by the passion of people who weren't afraid to do something first, to step into the unknown, and to pave our own way forward. We are a nation of explorers. In 1961, President Kennedy issued a challenge to America to land a man on the moon and return him safely to Earth. And 47 years ago, on this very day, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin answered that call, and they walked on the moon. And they took with them an American flag and a plaque bearing the inscription, "Here, men from planet Earth first set foot upon the moon, July 1969. We came in peace for all mankind. We landed on the moon to fulfill a leadership challenge and to explore. We know that exploration leads to invention, innovation, and discovery. For example, our successful robotic missions to Mars, Jupiter, and Pluto have provided valuable information about our own planet. But in 2011, the Space Shuttle program ended. The last time the United States launched our own astronauts from our own soil was over 5 years ago. We must do better than that. Countries that are strong are countries that explore, invent, and discover to remain resilient in a changing world. I'm honored to have played a role in our nation's heritage of explorers as the first woman to command a space shuttle mission, joining the ranks of those that have fought to lead the way. Thanks. And we are all so proud of our Apollo program that put our astronauts on the moon, first in peace for all mankind. Nations that lead on the frontier lead in the world. We need that visionary leadership again, leadership that will inspire the next generation of explorers to have that same passion. We need leadership that will ask Americans will ask again, what's next? We need leadership that will make America's space program first again. Yes. And we need leadership that will make America great again. I want to thank all of you. Thank you for what you're doing. God bless America.
Please welcome from Women in Business for Trump, Michelle Van Etten.
I was born an entrepreneur and dreamer, and by the time I was 6 years old, I knew it. My dream was to be a circus performer. So I decided I was going to have a circus at my house. I made tickets. I went door to door and sold those tickets. I dressed my baby brother up like a clown. And I even taught my dog some new tricks. I was ready for my big day. As my guests started to arrive, my parents had no idea I was having a circus. They apologized to my guests and refunded my money. I was so upset. But afterwards, my dad told me, any dream you have, you can do, as long as you're willing to do the work it takes to get the job done. After you go to college. I can't wait. I want it now. I decided I was going to take my dad's advice, and I recruited the neighborhood kids to be part of my circus, and we charged our parents to watch the show. I had my circus for over a year, and my dad told me I made great candy money that year. Fast forward 26 years, going to my high school reunion, my 20 year, of course, I decided to scope out the competition. And what I realized, the girls I went to school with, they were driving BMWs and they looked like Barbie. I was 30 pounds overweight, a stay-at-home mom, and driving a minivan. I decided at that point I needed a change. And I began to dream again. I took a leap of faith and decided to open up my own home-based business. And what I realized, when you go after a dream, you are going to have to learn how to fail forward and never quit. I also learned that I had to level up to become the type of person that I wanted in my business. After 2 years, I was able to retire my husband after 28 years in the DoD. Today, my husband, he stays at home with our children, and he homeschools them because I will not subject them to Common Core. I own a small business. It's a fashion studio in Brandon, Florida. Envy House of Style. Florida does rock. Today, I run a multifaceted business. And it's a multifaceted international business. Get that part out. And I am living the American dream. But that dream is in jeopardy. My fear, the next generation, the millennials, who over 50% have an entrepreneurial spirit and want to be their own boss, will not be able to because of excessive policies and 8 years of liberals. They've overtaxed us, overregulated us, and they are killing the American dream. Small businesses are the backbone of America. We need entrepreneurs. We live in the land of opportunity, and we need to protect the American dream above all else. The American dream is being denigrated right now because of what's going on. And we need a change. And if you want a change and you believe that we can make a difference, then we need to have a president who is a businessman and not a Hillary-crat, who believes that business is the American, who believes that business is the backbone of America. Thank you. Who will not raise taxes. Who will protect our children and end Common Core. Who will repeal Obamacare and allow small businesses to be able to provide health care for their employees again. Who will foster creativity and innovation. Who will bring back manufacturing. Who will take care of the American people and make America great again. There is only one man capable of this juggling act. There is only one man who can handle the circus that we've inherited for the past 8 years and serve as the ultimate ringmaster. There is only one man who can protect the American future for many generations, and that man is Donald Trump. Thank you.
Please give a warm welcome to State Senator Ralph Alvarado of Kentucky.
Good evening. It's a great night to be an American. From the great Commonwealth of Kentucky, the home of horses, bourbon, coal, bluegrass, and the finest people on earth, allow me to express my sincerest appreciation and gratitude for the privilege of addressing this assembly. I'm proud to stand before you tonight as the first Hispanic member ever elected to the Kentucky General Assembly. Thank you. But the road here was not an easy one. It's a long story, but 3 failed political runs were lonely at times and full of adversity. With a lot of determination, a lot of grit and hard work, I triumphed and I'm standing before you here tonight. Everything I am, everything I've achieved, I owe to God and my parents. My father was a proud legal immigrant from Costa Rica, my mother from Argentina. And being the son of immigrants, I saw firsthand their sacrifice to provide our family a better life. I watched their struggle in mastering a second language and their strong and quiet commitment to hard work. We didn't have the luxuries that other families had, but what my parents did give me was family structure, discipline, support, high personal expectations, love, and faith in God. They were Hispanic, they were Americans, and they were very proud of being both. They understood the value of preserving our culture and our language, but also the value of an education and instilling a pride and love for our country. Like most immigrants, they understood that their sacrifice would not provide them with immediate success, but the reward would be in the opportunity and success of their children and their grandchildren. But this story is not unique to my family. It's the story of many legal Latino immigrants who come to America. At their core, and this is important for us to understand, that Hispanics believe what Republicans believe: traditional family values, church, faith in God, the dignity of work, and the opportunity for self-sufficiency that comes from a free society and a limited government. They have simple dreams that might seem mundane to the average American, but would sound very familiar to our founding fathers and their core principles. Some flee corrupt government leaders for the dream of liberty and freedom. Some flee crime and anarchy for the dream of safer communities for their families. Some flee hunger and despair for the dream of opportunity, entrepreneurship, and abundance. But all of them leave their homelands for the dream of America, the place where if you work hard, study hard, and obey our laws, you can accomplish anything. Now, over the past 8 years, our president and his apprentice, Hillary Clinton, have talked about that American dream, but they have absolutely no idea how to protect it, foster it, or expand it. Today, we have a president who has not only failed to end racial tension, he has made us more divided than ever. Today, we have a president who is itching to restrict our fundamental constitutional rights, such as religious liberty, the right to bear arms, and free speech. Today, we have a president who has rejected honesty and transparency, lying to the American people over and over again, from Obamacare to the promise of immigration reform, to Fast and Furious, to phone record spying, to an IRS enemies list, to green energy crony bankruptcies, to Benghazi, to the VA scandal, to the Iran nuclear deal. The list just goes on and on and on. And with Hillary Clinton, this 8-year nightmare will get far, far worse. Americans face a very important decision. Do we want someone who is brutally honest, perhaps to a fault, or do we want someone who is brutally dishonest? It is not a decision this year about America moving left or about America moving right. It's a decision about America going up or America going down. And by protecting the American dream, we can make America first again. There is only one candidate who will protect it for our current and future generations, and that candidate is Donald Trump. And now I have a message for my Spanish-speaking Latino friends at home. A mis hermanos hispanos, nuestras familias se fugaron de países llenos de corrupción y políticos mentirosos. Por favor, no permitan que esa miseria ocurra también en este país. Vivimos en una isla de libertad y oportunidad. Por favor, voten para proteger eso. Voten conmigo, voten republicano y voten por Donald Trump. And I've got a message for one more person. Hillary Clinton, you have failed the Hispanic community and you don't deserve our vote. God bless this convention. God bless our country. Thank you very much.
Please welcome Darrell Scott, Senior Pastor of New Spirit Revival Center Ministries.
I first met Donald Trump several years ago. In that meeting, he said he was very troubled about the direction that our country was heading in. I listened to his voice, and I understood and shared many of the same concerns that he expressed. In the many times that we have met since, we have spoken about the economy, race relations, immigration, jobs, urban renovation and revitalization, the military, and many other issues that are critical to our nation's well-being. The truth is, Donald Trump is a conservative father and grandfather who feels that his best days are still in front of him and not behind him. And despite his many accomplishments, he still feels a void that he believes can only be filled by service to his country and service to his fellow Americans. The truth is, the Democratic Party has failed us. At home, our growth is lethargic and our debt is deeper. We are spiritually empty and we are more divided now than we've ever been before. Abroad, we are neither respected, we're not feared by our adversaries, and our friends cannot count on us either. This is their legacy. And we need to make a sharp turn. We need to put into practice the great ideas and principles that our country was founded on, and which, after God, are the source of strength that has made this nation great. This is in our best interest, and it's in the best interest of the world, because the greater that America is, the greater the entire world becomes. While some people may call Donald Trump a populist, I call him a patriot. That's because by definition, a patriot is one who loves their country, that supports its authority, and promotes its interests. Now, many liberals are embarrassed to use this word. Many liberals believe that we are a nation just like any other, but we know that we are not a nation just like any other. We are the greatest nation in history. And as Republicans, we are unreservedly proud to be Americans, and we are proud of our patriots. America is a melting pot. We're a country of diversity, and we stand poised to make history by standing together as Americans, by standing together as one country, one nation under God, indivisible. And we are here as Americans, regardless of race, regardless of creed, and regardless of color. We are here as those who hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Donald Trump will rebuild the broken trust that now exists between our citizens and our government, which over the last 8 years has brought the rhetoric of hope, but the reality of higher minority unemployment, crime, drug use, with more civil unrest and national distress. This election is one of the most crucial elections in American history. Let me tell you something. Donald Trump has played for big stakes, and he's a master negotiator and deal maker. And Donald Trump knows that for all of the sharp elbows and all of the sharp words and all of the bruised egos and all of the hurt feelings, the art of the deal is bringing people together to unify and to get them from no to yes. That means problem solving, it means finding common ground, and then moving forward. Donald Trump has done that for himself for 30 years, and he now wants to take that experience to get the best deal for America and the best deal for all Americans. I truly believe that nothing will prevent Donald Trump from doing everything in his power to create an America and to become a president that everyone can be proud of. And Donald Trump believes, as you believe and I believe, that we can become great again. But we can only become great again if we have strong leadership. And I can think of no stronger leader who will place their left hand on a Bible that they believe in, raise their right hand, and solemnly swear to faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and to the best of his ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States than Donald J. Trump. Come on. God bless Donald Trump. God bless you, and God bless America.
The Please welcome Harold Hamm, the Chief Executive Officer of Continental Resources.
Thank you. It's good to be in Cleveland. 4 years ago, Donald Trump asked me to tell him about the American energy renaissance and how we had transformed the North Dakota Bakken into the largest U.S. oil discovery ever. I told him it was moving America from energy scarcity to one of abundance, would change the world forever, and could power America to greatness once again. He wrote that down. Donald Trump got it. President Trump will fuel America's future and become the first president to achieve American energy independence. President Obama chose not to get it. And he has tried to destroy this renaissance and all of its benefits. Instead, he turned on Iranian oil, gave them the bomb, billions of dollars, and vilified Israel. Why would he do that? Obama imposed punitive regulations to stop this renaissance. And in his administration's very own words, they want to crucify America's oil and natural gas producers. And Hillary Clinton promises more of the very same. You know, America has two distinct choices. Our nation should embrace energy independence, not eliminate it. Hillary Clinton would eliminate fossil fuel development in America. She would kill jobs, drive up gasoline prices, and increase oil imports from our enemies. President Trump will release America's pent-up energy potential, get rid of foreign oil, trash punitive regulations, create millions of jobs, and develop our most strategic geopolitical weapon, crude oil. Despite Obama's attacks, foreign oil have plummeted by 65%. America now has more oil than Saudi Arabia or Russia. We can double U.S. oil production again and put America in a global league of its own. Yeah, let's do it. Donald Trump will restore America's rightful place as the energy leader of the world. Every time we can't drill a well in America, terrorism is being funded. Orlando brought this home once again. You know, it's been 15 years since 9/11. We can't ignore this problem any longer. It's not going away. Climate change isn't our biggest problem. It's Islamic terrorism. Every onerous regulation puts American lives at risk. Developing America's own oil supply is a matter of national security. You know, critics may say I'm just a well-to-do supporter of Donald Trump. They don't know about the 13th child of sharecroppers who was inspired by VOAG teacher Jim Hunter. You know, I couldn't start school before the first snow or Christmas, whichever one came first, because I was pulling cotton to feed her family. My first memories are picking cotton barefoot. I'm standing here tonight because the American dream was alive and well when I struck out on my own at 20 years old with nothing but a truck, a co-signed note, and a phone. Thank God we have a clear choice today. Donald Trump and Mike Pence will restore the American dream for the next would-be visionary from small-town America. And they will make America great again. God bless America.
Donald Trump's business plan for America.
It's really cool to hear him speak the truth.
Sounds like it is.
Make America great.
As a guy who's an international student, Trump is speaking out the truth.
He wants to make America great, and that's what I want to.
We have a country that we're proud of and that we love and that we're not going to lose. There is an assault on everything that we stand for, and we're going to stop the assault. We will make America great again.
Please welcome from the state of Wisconsin, Governor Scott Walker.
My fellow Americans, you have a choice. You deserve better because America deserves better. The well-connected in Washington are standing behind Hillary Clinton because Hillary Clinton is one of them. They want more of the same. Donald Trump is standing with the American people. We want a leader who is not afraid to take on the mess in Washington. Donald Trump knows that there is a better way forward, and we believe, as Republicans, we believe in an America where everyone can get the education and training that they need to succeed in college, in career, and in life. Where Washington doesn't deepen dependency, but rather helps create genuine opportunity. Why? Because America deserves better. We believe in a country where people can achieve, maintain, and enjoy their piece of the American dream without government standing in the way. Why? Because America deserves better. We believe in a country where we take the threat of terrorism seriously. We name it for what it is. You know the words, radical Islamic terrorism. And we do everything in our power to eliminate it, to ensure our safety. Why? Because America deserves better. We believe in a country where it is a solemn responsibility to deliver to our troops the support and tools that they need to achieve absolute victory, and then provide them with the health care and the respect that they've earned when they return home. Let's thank our veterans. Why? Why? Because America deserves better. And while we're at it, we believe in a country where those who honorably serve in law enforcement, the people who put their lives on the line for us each and every day, are not just respected, they are revered. Why? Because America deserves better. We believe in a country where power is taken back from Washington and returned home to state and local governments, where it is more effective, more efficient, and more accountable to the people. Why? Because America deserves better. We believe in a country where freedom and personal success do not come from the clumsy hand of government, rather from the dignity that comes from hard work. Why? Because an America deserves better. The simple truth is, liberal Washington insiders created our problems. And Hillary Clinton is the ultimate liberal Washington insider. If she were any more on the inside, she'd be in prison. America deserves better than Hillary Clinton. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why we need to support Donald Trump and Mike Pence to be the next president and vice president of the United States. Now, last August, right here in Cleveland, I stood on this stage and I said that any of the Republicans running for office would be better than Hillary Clinton. I meant it then, and I mean it now. So let me be clear. A vote for anyone other than Donald Trump in November is a vote for Hillary Clinton. Make no mistake, we can't wait 4 years to get them next time. The consequences are too great. Literally just an hour ago, while waiting to come out here on stage, I was on the phone with Donald Trump, and this very subject came up. Think about it, the Supreme Court. He and I talked about the court. He raised that as a concern, and we talked about the fact that Ronald Reagan nominated Justice Scalia over 30 years ago to be on the court when I was in high school. We cannot concede the court to liberals like Hillary Clinton for the next 30 years. The consequences are too great. After hearing the FBI director's report a few weeks ago, heck, I listened to that and said, I wouldn't even give Hillary Clinton the password to my iPhone, let alone access to highly classified information. This isn't just another Clinton scandal. Hillary's scandal put our national security at risk, and that, ladies and gentlemen, makes Hillary Clinton unfit to be president of the United States. It is time to tell Hillary enough is enough. No more double standards for the Clintons. Why? Because America deserves better. And thankfully, Republicans are offering a better way forward. It's working right here in Ohio, and it's working in places like Florida and New Mexico and North Carolina and South Carolina. Heck, it's even working in places like Massachusetts and Maryland. That's because Republican leadership works. I know because I see it firsthand as it's working every single day in Wisconsin. You see, in 2010, we were tired of high unemployment, budget deficits, stifling taxes, and rising college tuition. Most of all, we were tired of the big government union bosses running our state and local governments. We had had enough, so we did something about it. We took the power from the hands of the big government special interests and returned it firmly into the hands of the hardworking taxpayers. You remember, in turn, the big government union bosses and their cronies in Washington helped organize more than 100,000 protesters who occupied our state capitol. They tried to intimidate us with threats and mobs, but we didn't back down, and we won. They spent tens of millions of dollars trying to defeat us in a recall election, but we didn't back down, and we won. Three times they came at us. 3 times we won. We won because our common sense reforms worked. Today, more people are employed in Wisconsin than ever before. Our budget is balanced and responsible. Taxes are down for working families and seniors. And college tuition, for the first time ever, is frozen 4 years in a row. If conservative reforms can work in a blue state like mine, they can work anywhere in the country. You see, it wasn't too late for Wisconsin, and it's not too late for America. If you've had enough of Washington's brokenness, of Washington's wastefulness, of Washington's empty promises, and of Washington's arrogance, I invite you here and across America to join us, help us elect Republicans to office from the courthouse, to the State House, to the White House. America, you have a choice. You decide. You deserve better. Why? Because America deserves better. Why? Because America deserves better. Why? Because America deserves better. God bless you. Thank you. And God bless our next president and vice president.
Today, I was compelled to sit down and write this letter, not to anyone in particular, maybe even just for myself. The Trump family that I know is, without question, one of the most generous, compassionate, and philanthropic families I've ever had the privilege of knowing and the honor to call friends. They have been incredibly loyal to me and to the countless dedicated people they employ around the world, hiring more minority and female executives than any other company for which I've ever worked. Rest assured, I am a highly intelligent, free-thinking, and independent woman. My opinions and decisions are based solely in fact, not fiction, speculation, assumption, or hearsay. I do not vote based upon the color of my skin, nor the signature on my paycheck. I judge my friends and forge my allegiances from direct personal interaction and moral character. That said, there is no higher barometer by which to measure oneself than the one continually set by this family and their spouses. The Trump family has stood by me through immensely difficult times without hesitation nor concern for their own reputation by association. They continue to trust me with every aspect of their lives and the lives of their families. They invite me into their homes and welcome me at their family gatherings. For the past 6 years, I have held an executive position as it pertains to the distribution of their charitable funds, and they have charged me to identify worthy and altruistic missions. I could not be more humbled. This is the Trump family that I know. There is a movement sweeping this brave nation, and I am honored to have a front row seat to it on a daily basis. This country has spoken. My boss has justly earned the Republican nomination and broken voter registration records in countless states across America. This cannot be denied. He has brought this party together by drawing more Democrats, more independents, and more first-time voters into the GOP fold, and has earned more Republican votes than any other presidential candidate in modern history. That must be respected. To the skeptics who will undoubtedly claim that I'm doing this at the behest of the Trump family or with the promise of reward, I deliberately chose not to seek their approval nor counsel in advance of this video for fear that they would be more concerned for me and its potential viral ramifications than they would be for themselves, and the fact that, quite simply, this is the right thing to do. For me, it was an easy decision, just as voting for my boss, Donald J. Trump, should be an easy decision for you. God bless this family, God bless the voters, and God bless the United States of America.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Vice President of the Eric Trump Foundation and Senior Family Assistant, Lynne Patton.
Hello, America! Woo! I told Pastor Scott and Governor Walker that they were going to be tough acts to follow. But you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. I said, hello, America! I am honored to be here tonight on behalf of my boss, Donald J. Trump. As someone who has been with this family each and every day for the past 7 years, I know Mr. Trump. I know his heart, and I know his passion for this country to be true. Tonight, as we stand in the shadow of one of the darkest months in modern American history, I know, now more than ever, that Donald Trump is the law and order leader we need to heal a wounded and divided nation. We all watched, horrified and helpless, as a radical Islamic terrorist targeted members of the LGBTQ community in Orlando. We've seen discord in our urban communities sparked by the senseless deaths of young black men in Baton Rouge, in Minnesota, and far too many places around this country. We watched in horror as our nation's finest were gunned down in Dallas and Baton Rouge as they sought to protect the very people protesting them. But in order to heal as a nation, we must stop viewing these incidents as attacks on the LGBTQ community or attacks on the black community, or even attacks on the law enforcement community. They are attacks on America, they are attacks on our values, they are attacks on the very foundation of civil society. Sadly, though, there's not one person in this room who can deny that, historically, black lives have mattered less. My life mattered less. And whether we like it or not, there are people out there who still believe this to be true. But tonight, as a minority myself, I personally pledge to you that Donald Trump knows that your life matters, he knows that my life matters, he knows that LGBTQ lives matter, he knows that veterans' lives matter, and he knows that blue lives matter. This country is sadly more divided now than it was 8 years ago. But tonight, don't hope for change, be the change. Vote not for the candidate who asks you to stand with her, but instead vote for the candidate who stands in solidarity with you. The Bible tells us that you can judge a tree by the fruit it bears. And if you embrace these words, then you embrace Donald Trump, because he has raised the best young adults I have ever had the privilege to know and the honor to call friends. They were raised to be respectful of all ages, all races, and all religions. Eric, Don, and Ivanka, I love you like the siblings I never had. You are compassionate, you are charitable, you are my heroes. I believe in the opportunity of America because I have seen it firsthand. My father was born in Birmingham, Alabama, and rose to become one of the most respected doctors at Yale University. I am proud of him. I am proud of my African American heritage, and I am proud to stand before you tonight and support Donald Trump, not just in spite of the color of my skin, but in fact because of the color of my skin. God bless this country, God bless this family, and God bless Donald J. Trump.
Hillary Clinton has spent her lifetime on the inside of a rigged political system that puts special interests ahead of the American people. She planted the seeds for the disaster we now know as Obamacare. She was an ultra-liberal senator and a reliable vote for crony capitalism, Wall Street bailouts, middle-class tax hikes, and out-of-control government spending. She was a key figure in implementing Barack Obama's shameful foreign policy record of appeasing our enemies and betraying our allies and diminishing our role in the world. And she turned her back on the fallen heroes in Benghazi, carelessly jeopardized our national security, and then she lied about it to the American people. Hillary Clinton does not have the honesty, the courage, or the independence to be the president we need for the next 4 years, after the president we've had for the past 8. But unlike Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump is committed to cut taxes, curb spending, and get our national debt under control. Unlike Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump takes seriously the threats from Islamic radicals and is committed to rebuilding our military. And unlike Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, he has committed to appointing constitutionalist judges who will respect the proper role of the judiciary. After a long and spirited primary, the time for fighting each other is over. It's time to come together and fight for a new direction for America. It's time to win in November.
Please welcome United States Senator Ted Cruz of Texas.
Thank you. Thank you, and God bless each and every one of you. Heidi and I are so honored to join you here in Cleveland, where LeBron James just led an incredible comeback victory. And I am convinced America is going to come back too. I want to congratulate Donald Trump on winning the nomination last night. And like each of you, I want to see the principles that our party believes prevail in November. Conventions are times of excitement, but given the events of the last few weeks, I hope you'll allow me a moment to talk to you about what's really at stake. Just 2 weeks ago, a 9-year-old girl named Caroline was having a carefree Texas summer, swimming in the pool, playing with friends, doing all the things a happy child might do. Like most children, she relied upon the love that she received from her mom, Heidi, and her dad, a police sergeant named Michael Smith. That is, until he became one of the 5 police officers gunned down in Dallas. The day her father was murdered, Caroline gave him a hug and a kiss as he left for work. But as they parted, her dad asked her something he hadn't asked before. What if this is the last time you ever kiss or hug me? Later, as she thought of her fallen father and that last heartbreaking hug, Caroline broke down into tears. How could anything ever be okay again? Michael Smith was a former Army Ranger who spent 3 decades with the Dallas Police Department. I have no idea who he voted for in the last election or what he thought about this one. But his life was a testament to devotion. He protected the very protesters who mocked him because he loved his country and his fellow man. His work gave new meaning to that line from literature: to die of love is to live by it. As I thought about what I wanted to say tonight, Michael Smith's story weighed on my heart. Maybe that's because his daughter, Caroline, is about the same age as my eldest daughter and happens to share the same name. Maybe it's because I saw a video of that dear, sweet child choking back sobs as she remembered her daddy's last question to her. Maybe it's because we live in a world where so many others have had their lives destroyed by evil in places like Orlando and Paris and Nice and Baton Rouge. Maybe it's because of the simple question itself. What if this, right now, is our last time? Our last moment to do something for our families and our country? Did we live up to the values we say we believe? Did we do all we really could? That's really what elections should be about. That's why you and millions like you devoted so much time and sacrifice to this campaign. We're fighting not for one particular candidate or one campaign, but because each of us wants to be able to tell our kids and grandkids, our own Carolines, that we did our best for their future and our country. America is more than just a landmass between 2 oceans. America is an ideal, a simple yet powerful idea. Freedom matters. For much of human history, government power has been the unavoidable constant in life. Government decrees, and the people obey. But not here. We have no king or queen. We have no dictator. We, the people, constrain government. Our nation is exceptional because it was built on the 5 most beautiful and powerful words in the English language. I want to be free. Never has that message been more needed than today. We stand here tonight a nation divided. Partisan rancor, anger, even hatred are tearing America apart. And citizens are furious, rightly furious, at a political establishment that cynically breaks its promises and that ignores the will of the people. We have to do better. We owe our fallen heroes more than that. Now, of course, Obama and Clinton will also tell you that they care about our children's future. And I want to believe them. But there is a profound difference in our two parties' vision for the future. Theirs is the party that thinks ISIS is a JV team, that responds to the death of Americans at Benghazi by asking, what difference does it make? And that thinks it's possible to make a deal with Iran which celebrates as holidays Death to America Day and Death to Israel Day. My friends, this is madness. President Obama is a man who does everything backwards. He wants to close Guantanamo Bay and open up our borders. He exports jobs and imports terrorists. Enough is enough. And I am here to tell you there is a better vision for our future, a return to freedom. On education, your freedom to choose your child's education, even if you aren't as rich as Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama. On health care, your freedom to choose your own doctor without Obamacare. On taxes, your freedom to provide for your family without the IRS beating down your door. The internet, keep it free from taxes, free from regulation, and don't give it away to Russia and China. Freedom means free speech, not politically correct safe spaces. Freedom means religious freedom, whether you are Christian or Jew, Muslim or atheist. Whether you are gay or straight, the Bill of Rights protects the rights of all of us to live according to our conscience. Freedom means the right to keep and bear arms and to protect your family. Freedom means that every human life is precious and must be protected. Freedom means Supreme Court justices who don't dictate policy, but instead follow the Constitution. And freedom means recognizing that our Constitution allows states to choose policies that reflect local values. Colorado might decide something different than Texas. New York, different than Iowa. That's the way it's supposed to be. Diversity. If not, what's the point of having states to begin with? Now, Hillary Clinton believes that government should make virtually every choice in your life. Education, health care, marriage, speech, all dictated out of Washington. But something powerful is happening. We've seen it in both parties. We've seen it in the United Kingdom's unprecedented Brexit vote to leave the European Union. Voters are overwhelmingly rejecting the political establishment and overwhelmingly rejecting big government. That is a profound victory, and it is one earned by each and every one of you. People are fed up with politicians who don't listen to them, fed up with a corrupt system that benefits the elites instead of working men and women. We deserve an immigration system that puts America first and, yes, builds a wall to keep America safe. A government that stops admitting ISIS terrorists as refugees. We deserve trade policies that put the interest of American farmers and manufacturing jobs over the global interests that are funding the lobbyists. And if we stand together and choose freedom, our future will be brighter. Freedom will bring back jobs and raise wages. Freedom will lift people out of dependency to the dignity of work. We can do this. 47 years ago to this day, America put the very first man on the moon. That was the power of freedom. Our party, the Republican Party, was founded to defeat slavery. Abraham Lincoln, the first Republican president, signed the Emancipation Proclamation. Together, we passed the Civil Rights Act, and together we fought to eliminate Jim Crow laws. That's our collective legacy, although the media will never share it with you. Those were fights for freedom, and so is this. Sergeant Michael Smith stood up to protect our freedom. So do the soldiers and sailors and airmen and Marines every day fighting radical Islamic terrorism. And so did the family of Alton Sterling, who bravely called to end the violence. So did the families of those murdered at the Charleston Emmanuel AME Church, who forgave that hateful, bigoted murderer. And so can we. We deserve leaders who stand for principle, who unite us all behind shared values, who cast aside anger for love. That is the standard we should expect from everybody. And to those listening, please, don't stay home in November. If you love our country and love your children as much as I know that you do, stand and speak and vote your conscience. Vote for candidates up and down the ticket who you trust to defend our freedom and to be faithful to the Constitution. Appreciate the enthusiasm of the New York delegation. And I will tell you, it is love of freedom that has allowed millions to achieve their dreams. Like my mom, the first in her family to go to college. And my dad, who's here tonight, who fled prison and torture in Cuba, coming to Texas with just $100 sewn into his underwear. And it is love that I hope will bring comfort to a grieving 9-year-old girl in Dallas. And God willing, propel her to move forward and dream and soar and make her daddy proud. We must make the most of our moment to fight for freedom, to protect our God-given rights, even of those with whom we don't agree, so that when we are old and gray, and when our work is done, and we give those we love one final kiss goodbye, we will be able to say, freedom matters, and I was part of something beautiful. The case we have to make to the American people, the case each person in this room has to make to the American people, is to commit to each of them that we will defend freedom and be faithful to the Constitution. We will unite the party, we will unite the country by standing together for shared values, by standing for liberty. God bless each and every one of you, and God bless the United States of America.
My father trained us very well. We were with him on job sites. We were with him in boardrooms. I always joke that I've been working in the company for 38 years because that's what it felt like. He was always available to us, but we were doing business.
For my father to step away from all that, to step away from a company that he's deeply committed to in favor of running for elected office was a real sacrifice for him, and it was very selfless. He really loves what he does, and that's why he's so successful. But ultimately, he knows what he can accomplish for America.
When I look into my father's eyes the way only a son can, I see the frustration. I see the frustration of $19 trillion worth of debt and climbing very quickly. I see the frustration of countries around the world, whether it be China or Mexico or so many others, ripping us off in terms of trade deals. I see the frustration of seeing a military that's totally crumbling, that's ill-equipped to fight modern-day wars anymore. I see the frustration of our veterans who have sacrificed so much for this country, and they're being totally mistreated.
My father will make a great president because he's a great leader. He understands how to do these things. He's done them time and time again in the real world with his own money at stake. I think that's the big difference between him and all the other politicians. When he talks about job creation, he's actually created jobs. He's actually done it.
My father is incredibly hardworking, and he values hard work. He values grit, and he values perseverance. He values a certain mindset that never allows you to give up, and I think that's a big part of his success.
The work ethic, the perseverance, and his ability to see detail and understand it.
He wants to make our country safe again. He wants to make our country rich again. He wants to rebuild our infrastructure. He wants to rebuild our military. He wants to fix education that's totally failing, the most precious generations that we have, which are the youngest generation. He wants to fix this country.
His goals for our country are so much bigger and so much more important than any deals or any company he's built.
Well, I think with my father, when someone tells him something's impossible, that's the challenge. That's when he's made all his great things happen. When something's impossible, that's just the stepping stone for him to start. Whether it was business, whether it was leaving Queens to do what he's done in Manhattan, whether it was taking on politics.
He's a man that's larger than life, and truly has become the epitome of the American dream. And he's my father, and somebody I care about tremendously, and somebody that I know will win this race. He will become the next president of the United States.
Everybody put your fist up in the air one time like this. We say Trump, yeah, Trump, yeah. Everybody in this place, let me hear you say Trump, yeah, all right, baby. I got a little Wayne pumping on my iPod, the Manassas in the back of my crew cab. Redneck rocking like a rock star, sing a little mud on the back, we can do that. I like a Friday night football, Saturday last call, Sunday, hallelujah. If you lock it up loud and you hear Billy Proud, everybody in the place, let me hear you shout, say Trump, yeah, I wanna get it jacked up, yeah, let's crank it on up, yeah. Now with a little bit of luck, I can find me a girl with a Trump, yeah, we can love it on up, yeah, till the sun comes up, yeah. If you think this life I love is a little too country, let me hear you say Trump, yeah. in the club, it's a honky-tonk downtown. Yeah, that's where I like to hang out. Chilling in the back room, hanging with my whole crew, sipping on a cold brew. And now, got a mixed up playlist, DJ play this, I wanna hear a country song. If you like it up loud and you're here, been proud, everybody in the place, let me hear you loud. Say Trump, yeah, I wanna get jacked up, yeah, let's crank it on up, yeah. And with a little bit of luck, I can find me a girl with a Trump, yeah, so we can live it on up, yeah, till the sun comes up, yeah. If you think this life I love is a little too country, then let me hear you say Trump, yeah. RNC, make some noise one time, baby.
Please welcome Eric Trump.
Wow. Wow. Good evening, Cleveland. Wow. It is such an honor to be here for a man I love so much. That's my father. "13 months ago, my father sat my family down and told us the time had come. He could no longer sit idly by and watch our beloved country, the country that had given our family so much success, so much opportunity, crumble before our very eyes. He confirmed to us that he was prepared to announce his candidacy for President of the United States. He made sure to acknowledge that ours would not be an easy path, that we should prepare ourselves for what was to come, that we'd quickly learn who our true friends were. Without hesitation, we each committed our unwavering support. But this time, none of us could have predicted what lay ahead. The records he would break, the stadiums he would fill, the movement he would start. Today, my father stands before you with the most primary votes of any Republican candidate in the history of our nation. He has shattered voter registration records across the country. He has defied the predictions of every single political pundit and turned traditional debates into must-see TV. He has inspired multiple generations, including my own, like millennials like myself, who have so little faith in our politicians that they no longer even consider public service to be a noble career. A year ago, my father was a businessman, but like many Americans, he simply could no longer stand to see what was happening to our great country. He can no longer stand to see special interest dollars dictate an incompetent foreign policy that puts foreign countries before our very own. He could no longer tolerate an inept administration that considers giving $150 billion to Iran or releasing 5 radical Islamic terrorists a successful negotiation. He can no longer bear witness to our continued Second Amendment attacks. He could no longer stand to see the words Christmas stripped from public use or the Pledge of Allegiance removed from our schools in an effort to be politically correct. So my father made the courageous decision to set aside a company to which he has dedicated his entire life, to set aside a global brand that he has made synonymous with success, with quality, with uncompromising, just the best. At a time when the people at the pinnacle of their career, like my father, would have held fast to a lifestyle that has truly become the epitome of the American dream, my father instead chose to give that dream back to the people it had eluded for so long. As daunting of a journey as he knew it would be, for him, it was the easiest decision in the world. After all, who better to implement common sense business approach to this country? Who better to apply practical solutions to the impractical decision-making of an administration that has bred a $19 trillion debt, one which goes up by $32,000 a second and over $2 billion a day? Who better implement common sense tax reductions for one of the highest tax nations in the world, allowing our citizens a chance to keep more of what they earn as opposed to having it squandered away by our inefficient government? Who better negotiate the return of countless American manufacturers like Nabisco and Ford and Carrier and so many others back to the United States where they began than a man who has single-handedly employed tens and tens and tens of thousands of people around the country? It's time for a president with common sense. It's time for a president who understands the art of a deal and appreciates the value of a dollar, our tax dollars. It's time for the president who has always been the one to sign the front of a check, not the back. Throughout my father's career, he has been repeatedly called on by government to step in and save delayed, shuttered, and grossly over-budget public projects. Everything from the exterior of Grand Central Terminal in New York to the iconic old post office in Washington, D.C., just to name a few. Back in 1986, the city of New York tried to refurbish a simple ice skating rink in Central Park. The project dragged on for over 6 years and ballooned to over $13 million. $5 million over an already inflated budget. That's when my father, who overlooked this disastrous construction site from his office window each and every day, decided he had to step in. Disgusted by government incompetence and ineptitude, he invested $2 million of his own money in order to complete the project. What had taken the city over half a decade to botch, my father completed in less than 6 months, 2 months ahead of schedule, and over $1 million under budget. It's time for a president who can make America great again, ahead of budget and ahead of schedule too. Thank you. My father has revitalized rundown neighborhoods, shaped skylines across the country, and turned dreams into reality his entire career. It's what he does. It's who he is. Oprah Winfrey once famously asked my father if he ever envisioned running for the presidency of the United States. His answer? Only if it got so bad that I had no choice. Only if it got so bad that I had no choice. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that day has come. As I travel the world with my dad building the greatest golf courses and hotels and real estate projects, I see the unmistakable look in his eyes. I see in his eyes the indignity and frustration of a domestic infrastructure back at home that is in complete disarray and no longer on par with so many other developed nations. I see in his eyes the sadness of innocent lives lost, like those of Kate Steinle and Jamil Shaw and so many others, cut short by illegal immigrants in sanctuary cities, victims of a revolving door of government ineptitude and corruption that leaves innocent Americans defenseless. I see in his eyes the humiliation of an education system ranked 30th in the world. I see in his eyes the disgrace of nearly $400 billion trade imbalance with China, the $60 billion trade imbalance with Mexico, and the continued destabilization of the Middle East, which has cost our nation trillions and trillions of dollars and thousands of lives. But today I see in his eyes a man who truly loves his country, who is proud of his country, and who wants his country to be great again. Thank you. I want to thank my father over there for the life that he's provided me, for the life that he's provided my family, and the life that he's provided all of our employees around the world. I want to thank my father for the life that he's enabled me to provide to my future children as my beautiful wife Laura and I start thinking about that amazing chapter of our lives. To that end, I often think about the legacy I wish to leave my children. And to me, there are few things that I hold closer to my heart than charity. For me, it's the essence of who we are as human beings. It's the barometer by which we will be measured for our time here on earth. As Martin Luther King Jr. once said, life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? When I was 22 years old, I founded the Eric Trump Foundation to benefit St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, an incredible, incredible organization. I run my foundation based on the principles my father taught me: honesty, integrity, and values. I expect other charities to be run by the same moral code, not serve as conduit for personal enrichment, not become a beacon of corruption and scandal. To whom much is given, much will be required. This is the very belief that compelled my father to make this great sacrifice, to run for the most powerful yet unforgiving office in the world. There is no greater calling. There is no more selfless an act. To the unemployed voter sitting at home watching me right now, wondering how you're going to make your next mortgage payment or rent payment, my father is running for you. To the veteran tuning into the speech from his or her hospital, who has been ignored and disrespected by an ungrateful system for far too long, my father is running for you. To the school teacher, forced to walk through metal detectors each and every day into an underfunded school, my father is running for you. To the laborer watching me right now, forced out of a job by undocumented workers, illegal immigrants, my father is running for you. To the oil and gas industry worker denied a job because of radical regulations from a radical EPA, my father is running for you. To single mothers, to families with special needs children, to middle-class families who can no longer afford medical benefits sufficient to cover their everyday needs, my father is running for you. This November, I ask you to be true to yourself and vote for the candidate who you know is running for the right reasons. Vote for the candidate who has never been a politician. Vote for the candidate who has never received a paycheck from our government. Thank you. Vote for the candidate who can't be bought, sold, purchased, bribed, coerced, intimidated, or steered from the path that is right and just and true. And quite frankly, friends, vote for the one candidate who does not need this job. Never have I been more proud to be a Trump. Never have I been more proud to be my father's son. I am incredibly honored to be part of this journey of which he's invited me, Don, Ivanka, Tiffany, Melania, my beautiful wife Laura, our entire family to play such an integral part. Dad, you have once again taught us by example. You are my hero. You are my best friend. You are the next President of the United States. God bless America.
To introduce her husband, former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, please welcome President of Gingrich Productions, author of the best-selling Ellis the Elephant series, and documentary film producer, Callista Gingrich.
Thank you. Thank you for that warm welcome. Newt and I are excited to be with you, so many of you friends, at this extraordinary convention. We've enjoyed reconnecting this week with Republicans from all across America. As many of you know, Newt and I love American history and recognize that we are gathered here in Cleveland at a historic moment. This week, we nominate a Republican candidate for president who for the last year has given hope and encouragement to millions of Americans. As one of 17 candidates, Donald Trump received more primary votes than any Republican in American history. As he assured us that we can make America great again for all Americans. Newt and I are proud to be working to elect a president who will put America first and make our country safe again. We are also delighted by the selection of Governor Mike Pence as our vice presidential candidate. Newt and I have known Governor Pence since he first served in Congress in 2001, and we are confident that he will make an exceptional vice president. Tonight, Newt is going to speak about making America first again in safety, at home and abroad. As the son of a career soldier, Newt was convinced at an early age to dedicate his life to our country and to the protection of freedom. Newt has been studying national security since 1958. Tonight, he speaks from firsthand knowledge, having served in the United States Congress, as well as on the Defense Policy Board, the Terrorism Task Force, and the United States Commission on National Security. Newt has spent a lifetime fighting to put America first, to keep America safe, and to return power to the American people. Please welcome my husband and former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich.
Well, thank you for that very generous welcome. And thank you, Callista. You know, she makes documentary films, writes best-selling children's series in American history, sings in the Basilica Choir, plays the French horn in the Fairfax Band. I am amazed at her achievements. I'm also proud to be here as a Republican activist to see the extra effort Donald Trump has invested in bringing the Republican Party together. With no requirement for endorsement, he encouraged his competitors to speak once again. Governor Rick Perry, Governor Chris Christie, Governor Scott Walker, Dr. Ben Carson, Senator Marco Rubio, and Senator Ted Cruz have all responded to Donald Trump's generosity. Now, I think you misunderstood one paragraph that Ted Cruz, who is a superb orator, said. And I just want to point it out to you. Ted Cruz said, you can vote your conscience for anyone who will uphold the Constitution. In this election, there is only one candidate who will uphold the Constitution. So, to paraphrase Ted Cruz, if you want to protect the Constitution of the United States, the only possible candidate this fall is the Trump-Pence Republican ticket. That way, we have a Republican ticket to implement Republican principles in Washington. Now, what I want to focus on is a subject that has dominated my thinking for decades. How do we keep America safe? Keeping America safe is the first responsibility of the American president. There have been many fascinating things to watch about the extraordinary historic rise of Donald Trump. But the most significant has been Donald Trump's courage to tell some important truths about our national security. For example, we are at war. We are at war with radical Islamists. They are determined to kill us. They are stronger than we admit, and there is no substitute for victory. In contrast to Donald Trump, our national security and foreign policy elites, led by Hillary Clinton, are incapable of speaking with such honesty. While they lie about the threat, we need to tell the truth about the danger. If our enemies had their way, not a single woman in this room could define her future. If our enemies had their way, gays, lesbians, and transgender citizens would be put to death as they are today in the Islamic State in Iran. If our enemies had their way, every person on earth would be subject to conversion by the sword and to a cruel and violent system of law. There would be no individual liberty. There would be no equality. There would be no freedom. If you doubt we are at war, if you doubt that this threat is as real as I say, let me refresh your memory. On Monday, an Afghan refugee in Germany used an axe and knives to slash and wound train passengers while shouting, Allahu Akbar. Last week, ISIS claimed responsibility after a Tunisian man drove a cargo truck into a crowd in Nice, France. He murdered 84 people, including 10 children, 3 Americans, and injured over 300 others. 2 weeks ago, almost 300 people were killed and more than 200 were wounded in bombing attacks in Baghdad. 2 days before that, radical Islamists in Bangladesh killed 20 hostages, including 3 American college students. A few days before that, at the Istanbul airport in Turkey, ISIS attackers armed with guns and bombs killed 44 people and injured hundreds more. Last month, a radical Islamist in Paris, stalked a French police officer to his home, where he murdered the officer, tortured his wife to death in front of their 3-year-old son, while streaming it all on social media. He was pondering out loud whether to kill the 3-year-old when he was killed by police. 2 days before that, an attacker pledging allegiance to ISIS killed 49 people in an Orlando nightclub and wounded dozens more. All this in just the past 37 days. We cannot let ourselves grow numb to these accumulating atrocities. One analysis estimated that since January of 2015, some 30,000 people have been killed at the hands of terrorists. Let's be clear. Donald Trump is right. We are at war with radical Islamists, we are losing the war, and we must change course to win the war. Let me be very clear, because I know the news media will do their best to distort this. We have nothing to fear from the vast majority of Muslims in the United States or around the world. The vast majority are peaceful. They are often the victims themselves. They are people we'd be happy to have as our friends and neighbors. The challenge is when even a small percentage of 1.6 billion people support violence against those who disagree with them. That is still a giant recruiting base. For example, Pew Research finds that only 9% of Muslims in Pakistan view ISIS favorably. Unfortunately, 9% is 16 million people. And that's just one country. So the truth is, although we are losing the war with radical Islamists, we have been very lucky. The danger we face is much worse than the horrors that happened in Germany on New Year's Eve when 1,200 women were assaulted. It's worse than what's happening in France, where there are stabbings of Jews in the streets, and the nation's security chief warned recently that Europe is, quote, on the brink of civil war. It's worse than what's happening in Israel, where average citizens fear for their lives whenever they leave their homes. The danger is even worse than September 11th, when 19 hijackers murdered almost 3,000 Americans. The worst-case scenario is losing an American city to terrorists armed with weapons of mass destruction. Instead of losing 3,000 people in one morning, we could lose more than 300,000. Instead of losing 2 great buildings, we could lose block after block after block to a nuclear event. That's not just my view. Back in January of 2001, the Hart-Rudman Commission warned the terrorists, quote, will acquire weapons of mass destruction and some will use them. Americans will likely die on American soil, possibly in large numbers, close quote. 15 years later, the dangers are even greater. In a world where Pakistan has nuclear weapons, where North Korea has nuclear weapons, and where Iran, the world's leading state sponsor of terrorism, is close to having nuclear weapons, this, a catastrophic attack on innocent Americans, is a very real threat. Which brings us to the heart of the matter. We are sleepwalking through history as though this is all about politics. It is not. It is about our safety and our survival as a country. We cannot keep in place the people and the systems that have brought us to this point and that lie to us every single day about the threat. That is why every American should be terrified at the prospect of a Hillary Clinton presidency. Hillary Clinton has been right at the center of this dishonesty. We know this administration and its allies lied to us about the Iran nuclear deal. We know it because they openly bragged about it to the New York Times. We know that Hillary Clinton lied to us knowingly about the terror attack on our Benghazi consulate. We know that Hillary Clinton and President Obama lie to the American people when they say they can safely screen the Syrian refugees. They cannot. And yet, Hillary wants to increase the number by 500%. So when you hear about Hillary's dishonesty of the emails or taking millions from the Saudis and other Middle Eastern dictatorships, remember, this is not about politics. The cost of Hillary's dishonesty could be the loss of America as we know it. The first step forward to safety is electing a leader who will be truthful with the American people about the realities we face. Only then will we understand, support, and demand the strategies required to confront this threat. And because safety and security are the preconditions for our freedom and prosperity, it is also the first step toward rebuilding the America we love. Donald Trump understands this. And that's why he will rebuild our military, because he knows that a strong military is the best way to ensure peace. Donald Trump will secure our borders, because there is no such thing as a nation without a border. Donald Trump will enforce our immigration laws. He will end the policy of deliberate non-enforcement and will end the abuse of our visa programs to protect American workers and their wages. Donald Trump will take care of our veterans by holding bureaucrats at the Veterans Administration accountable. He will fire those responsible for the waiting list and will give veterans more choices about their care. With Donald Trump's leadership, no bureaucrat will get between a veteran and their doctor. Donald Trump will get America building again. He will blow apart the ridiculous regulations and requirements that drive up infrastructure costs and drag out the timeline to get anything built. The Trump infrastructure program will make us once again the most competitive economy in the world. Donald Trump will rebuild our education system and give every parent of every income and every ethnic background a choice about where their children go to school. And Donald Trump will help us rebuild and strengthen our communities. Here again, the first step is safety. The basis for strong families and good jobs and vibrant neighborhoods. That means restoring law and order. Donald Trump will show zero tolerance for people calling for the death of police officers. Think about this. If anyone publicly threatens the life of the President of the United States, the Secret Service is on them in an instant. Our law enforcement officers deserve the same respect as the President of the United States. Of course, if individual officers are found to have violated someone's rights, they must be held accountable under the law. America is based on the rule of law. We are one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That is what has allowed us to absorb more people from more backgrounds than any nation in history. Nobody is above the law, and nobody is too small to deserve its protection. Donald Trump won our party's nomination because he is willing to tell the truth about the things that matter. He has a great running mate in Mike Pence. They will put our safety first, and they will defend America first. We can be proud to stand with them. So tonight, the challenge for everyone in this hall, and everyone, Republican, Democrat, or Independent, who's watching at home and knows we cannot continue on our current course, is to rise above our factions, excuse me, and rise above the politics we've inherited, to ignore the lies of the news media and the old order, to reject the suicidal dishonesty of Hillary Clinton and her establishment allies, and to stand with Donald Trump and Mike Pence for what we know is true. We can make America safe again. We can make America work again. We can make America first again. And together, we can make America great again for all Americans. Thank you, and God bless the United States of America.
Please welcome the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan.
Hello, my fellow Republicans. I could not be more proud of our vice presidential nominee. I served with this man in the House of Representatives. We became very good friends. I've watched this man up close. I've seen what he's made of. Let me tell you something about Mike Pence. This is a man of solid character. This is a man who sees public service as a calling, not a career. He has served honorably, with great dignity. You know what? The results are impressive. This is a man who led the charge to ban earmarks in Congress, and he won that fight. As governor of Indiana, he passed the largest income tax cut in state history. He balanced its state's budget. This man is a Reagan conservative through and through, pro-growth, pro-life, pro-strong defense. And most importantly, he is the father of 3 beautiful children, Michael, Charlotte, and Audrey. And he calls his wife, Karen, the best part of my life. My fellow Republicans, the man that you have nominated, he's a man of faith. He's a man of conviction. He's a man you can trust. He comes from the heart of the conservative movement and from the heart of America. And now we need to send him and Donald Trump straight to the White House. There is no doubt in my mind that he will bring real change to Washington. I have every confidence that he will do us all proud. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce to you the next Vice President of the United States, Governor Mike Pence.
Mr. Chairman, delegates, friends, and my fellow Americans, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I am deeply humbled by your confidence, and on behalf of my family, here and gone, I accept your nomination to run and serve as Vice President of the United States of America. And let me thank Speaker Paul Ryan for that gracious welcome. Paul, you're a true friend and a great American leader. But Paul knows me well, and he knows the introduction I prefer is just a little bit shorter. I'm a Christian, a conservative, and a Republican in that order. You know, I'm new to this campaign, and honestly, I never thought I'd be standing here. I thought I'd be spending this evening with all my friends from the great state of Indiana. Yet there I was, a few days ago in New York City, with the man who won 37 states, who faced 16 talented opponents and outlasted every one of them, and along the way brought millions of new voters into the Republican Party. You know, he's a man known for a large personality, a colorful style, and lots of charisma. And so I guess he was just looking for some balance on the ticket. Well, for those of you who don't know me, which is most of you, I grew up on the front row of the American dream. My grandfather immigrated to this country. I was raised in a small town in southern Indiana in a big family with a cornfield in the backyard. We weren't really a political family. The heroes of my youth were President John F. Kennedy and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. When I was young, I watched my mom and dad build everything that matters: a family, a business, and a good name. I was raised to believe in hard work, in faith, and family. My dad, Ed Pence, was a combat veteran in Korea. Dad ran gas stations in our small town, and he was a great father. If Dad were with us today, I'd have a feeling he'd enjoy this moment and probably be pretty surprised. But it's such a joy for me to tell you that my mother is here. Would you join me in welcoming the light of my life, my mom, Nancy? You know, growing up, I actually started in politics in the other party until I heard the voice and the ideals of the 40th president, and I signed on for the Reagan Revolution. But the best thing that ever happened to me, even counting tonight, is that 31 years ago, I married the girl of my dreams, a school teacher, an artist. She is everything to me. Would you welcome my wonderful wife, Karen Pence? And regardless of any title I'll ever hold, the most important job I'll ever have is spelled D-A-D. Karen and I are blessed. Karen and I are blessed to be the parents of the three greatest kids in the world: a writer named Charlotte, a college student named Audrey, and a second lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps, Michael J. Pence. I'm so proud of you guys. Now, if you know anything about Hoosiers, you know we love to suit up and compete. We play to win. That's why I joined this campaign in a heartbeat. You have nominated a man for president who never quits, who never backs down, a fighter, a winner. Until now, he's had to do it all by himself against all odds. But this week, with this united party, he's got backup. And on November 8th, I know we will elect Donald Trump to be the 45th president of the United States of America. Now, we'll win because we're running on the issues facing this country and because we're leveling with the American people about the stakes and the choice. You know, the American people are tired of being told. They're tired of being told that this is as good as it gets. They're tired of hearing politicians in both parties tell us that we'll get to that tomorrow while we pile a mountain range of debt on our children and our grandchildren. And as Ronald Reagan used to say, they're tired of being told that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives better for us than we can plan them for ourselves. In the end, this election comes down to just 2 names on the ballot, so let's resolve here and now that Hillary Clinton will never become President of the United States of America. Now, Hillary Clinton essentially offers a third Obama term, and the role is perfect for her. She championed Obamacare because years earlier she had all but invented it. The national debt has nearly doubled in these 8 years, and her only answer is to keep borrowing and spending. And like the president, she thinks the path to a growing economy is more taxes, more regulation, and more government. Now, they tell us this economy is the best that we can do. It's nowhere near the best that we can do. It's just the best that they can do. And let me tell you, I know firsthand it doesn't have to be like this. In my home state of Indiana, we prove every day that you can build a growing economy on balanced budgets, low taxes, even while making record investments in education and roads and health care. You know, Indiana is a state that works because conservative principles work every time you put them into practice. Now today, while the nation suffers under the weight of $19 trillion in a national debt, we in Indiana have a $2 billion surplus, the highest credit rating in the nation, even though we've cut taxes every year since I became governor 4 years ago. We have fewer state employees than when I took office, and businesses large and small have created nearly 150,000 new jobs, and there's more Hoosiers going to work than ever before. That's what you can do with common sense Republican leadership, and that's exactly what the no-nonsense leadership of Donald Trump will bring to the White House. You know, Donald Trump gets it. He's the genuine article. He's a doer in a game usually reserved for talkers. And when Donald Trump does his talking, he doesn't tiptoe around the 1,000 new rules of political correctness. He's his own man, distinctly American. And where else would an independent spirit like his find a following than in the land of the free and the home of the brave? The funny thing is, the funny thing is, the party in power seems helpless to figure out our nominee. The media has the same problem. They all keep telling each other that the usual methods will work against him. They keep thinking they've done him in, only to wake up the next morning and find that Donald Trump is still standing and running stronger than ever before. The man just doesn't quit. He's tough. He perseveres. He's gone about as far as you can go in business, but he's never turned his back on the working men and women who make this country grow. And Donald Trump will never turn his back on those who serve and protect us at home and abroad. You know, it's been a heartbreaking time for the women and men in our law enforcement community. And in this time of great testing for them, let's let them know, here and now, all across this country, we will always stand with those who stand on the thin blue line of law enforcement in America. Now, while Donald Trump was taking my measure as a possible running mate, I did some observing myself. I've seen the way he deals with people who work for him at every level. And I've seen the way they feel about working for him. Now, I'll grant you he can be a little rough with politicians on the stage, and I'll bet we see that again. But I've seen this good man up close, his utter lack of pretense, his respect for the people who work for him, and his devotion to his family. And if you still doubt what I'm saying, remember, as we say back home, you can't fake good kids. How about his amazing children? Aren't they something? These are the true measures of our nominee, chosen by the voters as the right man for these times. This is the outsider, my running mate, who turned a long-shot campaign into a movement. Now, over in the other party, if the idea was to present the exact opposite of a political outsider, the exact opposite of an uncalculating truth teller, then on that score, you got to hand it to the Democratic establishment. They outdid themselves this time. At the very moment when America is crying out for something new and different, the other party has answered with a stale agenda and the most predictable of names. People in both parties are restless for change, ready to break free of old patterns in Washington. And Democrats are about to anoint someone who represents everything this country is tired of. Hillary Clinton wants a better title, and I would too if I was already America's Secretary of the Status Quo. You know, the choice couldn't be more clear. Americans can elect someone who literally personifies the failed establishment in Washington, D.C., or we can choose a leader who will fight every day to make America great again. It's change versus status quo. And my fellow Republicans, when Donald Trump becomes President of the United States of America, the change will be huge. You know, for years we've had fundamental problems in America that get talked to death in Washington, D.C., but they never get solved, and they even get worse. We've seen entire stretches of our country written off by bad economic policies in ways that are deeply unfair to American workers. We've seen relentless mandates from the executive branch. It seems like no aspect of our lives is too small for the present administration to supervise, and no provision of the Constitution is too large for them to ignore. Meanwhile, we've seen borders that go unrespected, a military that's been diminished, and promise after ringing promise to our veterans promptly forgotten. Then Donald Trump came along and started saying what practically everybody was thinking anyway, that our leaders need to be stronger. Under Donald Trump, our deals will be smarter. Our soldiers will have what they need, and our veterans will have what they earned. We will secure our borders, protect our nation. In all this, we will be more serious, and when we do, this nation will start winning again. You know, that's the message that men and women in both parties have been longing to hear. But none of us should think for 1 second that this will be easy. The outcome of this election depends on us and how we contend with an incredible onslaught that's coming our way. You know, this won't be America's first glimpse of the Clinton machine in action, as Bernie Sanders can tell you. And this time around, she'll have the press doing half her work for her. The good news is it won't be nearly enough. Not against a candidate who's captured the attention of the country the way Donald Trump has. On issue by issue, he and I will take our case to the voters, pointing out the failures of the Obama-Clinton agenda and showing a better way. We will win the hearts and minds of the American people with an agenda for a stronger and more prosperous America. Now, the establishment in Washington, D.C. thinks it's only a narrow range of voters who are giving Donald Trump a serious look. But I can tell you firsthand, there's a lot of Americans out there who feel like Democrat politicians have taken them for granted. It's union members who don't want a president who promises to put a lot of coal miners and coal companies out of business. Those miners want an American energy policy, and they know that Donald Trump digs coal. It's African Americans who remember generations of hollow promises about safe streets and better schools. And they know Donald Trump will fight for equal opportunity, and he loves educational choice. And it's Hispanic Americans who respect the law, want jobs and opportunities for their families, who know that Donald Trump will uphold the law and get this economy moving for every American. You know, the party of Lincoln was founded on equality of opportunity. And during these difficult days, it will be our party and our agenda that opens the doors for every American to succeed and prosper in this land. You know, in so many ways, the Democratic Party has abandoned those it used to protect. Maybe they become too entrenched in power, so comfortable at times that they lose patience with the normal legislative process. It's so much simpler to impose their values by executive order or court action. And make no mistake about it, Hillary Clinton has some big ideas along those lines, too. As this election approaches, every American should know that while we're filling the presidency for the next 4 years, this election will define the Supreme Court for the next 40. We all better think very carefully about what this means for our Constitution and limited government. Elect Hillary Clinton, and you better get used to being subject to unelected judges using unaccountable power to take unconstitutional actions. So let me say, for the sake of the rule of law, for the sake of the sanctity of life, for the sake of our Second Amendment, and for the sake of all our other God-given liberties, we must ensure that the next president appointing justices to the Supreme Court is Donald Trump. And Hillary Clinton's record on foreign affairs gets even worse. You know, it was Hillary Clinton who helped undo all the gains of the troop surge, a staggering failure of judgment that set ISIS on the loose. It was Hillary Clinton who instigated the president's disastrous agreement with the radical mullahs in Iran. And it was Hillary Clinton who left Americans in harm's way in Benghazi, and after 4 Americans fell, said, "What difference at this point does it make?" As the proud father of a United States Marine, let me say from my heart, anyone who said that, anyone who did that, should be disqualified from ever serving as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the United States of America. Seven and a half years of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton's policies have weakened America's place in the world. Terrorist attacks at home and abroad, grim and heartbreaking scenes from France just a few short days ago, and the attempted coup in Turkey all attest to a world spinning apart. History teaches us that weakness arouses evil. Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama's foreign policy of leading from behind, moving red lines, feigning resets with Russia, and the rise, rule, and reign of ISIS are a testament to this truth of history. We cannot have 4 more years apologizing to our enemies and abandoning our friends. America needs to be strong for the world to be safe, and on the world stage, Donald Trump will lead from strength. Donald Trump will rebuild our military and stand with our allies. Donald Trump will confront radical Islamic terrorism at its source and destroy the enemies of our freedom. And if the world knows nothing else, it will know this: America stands with Israel. You know, if you looked at the calendar this morning, you might have noticed. The presidency of Barack Obama ends exactly 6 months from today. And this much is certain. This much is certain of the Obama years. They're not ending well. There seems to be so many things that divide us, so few great purposes that unite us as they once did. And it's at moments like this, moments when politics fail, that I believe we do well to remember that what unites us far exceeds anything that sets us apart in America. That we are, as we have always been, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Should I have the awesome privilege to serve as your vice president, I promise to keep faith with that conviction, to pray daily for a wise and discerning heart for who is able to govern this great people of yours without it. My fellow Americans, I believe we have come to another rendezvous with destiny. And I have faith. Faith in the boundless capacity of the American people, and faith that God can still heal our land. But we have a choice to make. This is another time for choosing. If you want a president who will protect this nation, confront radical Islamic terrorism, and rid the world of ISIS, if you want a president who will restore law and order to this country and give law enforcement the support and resources they deserve, if you want a president who will cut taxes, grow our economy, and squeeze every nickel out of the federal bureaucracy, if you want a president who will build strong borders and enforce our laws, and if you want a president who will upend the status quo in Washington, D.C., and appoint justices to the Supreme Court who will uphold the Constitution. We have but one choice, and that man is ready. This team is ready. Our party is ready. And when we elect Donald Trump, the 45th President of the United States, together, we will make America great again. Thank you. And God bless you. And God bless the United States of America.
Please welcome back Chairman Priebus.
Ladies and gentlemen, delegates and alternates, please welcome from the Greek Orthodox Archdiocese of America, His Eminence Archbishop Demetrios.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for introducing me. As a significant day draws to a close, let us now turn our hearts and minds in gratitude to our God, and let us pray. Most High God, Lord of peace, justice, and love, we magnify your glorious name for all the blessings that you have bestowed upon our nation, blessings of land and sea, of health and prosperity, of law and of values, of faith and freedom. Bless us also, Lord, with a precious gift of unity. Unity in our political processes, in our judicial system, in our neighborhoods and cities, and in our whole nation. As the Holy Bible says, a house divided cannot stand. Open therefore the hearts and minds of all our people, so that with oneness of purpose in spirit and in heart, our United States of America would serve you, O God, faithfully and fervently. To this unity, Heavenly Father, add the supreme blessing of peace, peace within our borders, and peace around the world. Grant to us and to all people the wisdom from above, patience and trust in your goodness, so that we might learn to live according to your will in harmony and forbearance, so that we might learn to love the people as you, God, loves us. Furthermore, Almighty God, send down your guiding hand upon these your servants, the delegates of the Republican National Convention, and their nominees for the superb and awesome office of the President and Vice President of the United States, Donald Trump and Mike Pence, and lead them unto wisdom and discernment, so that they may perform your holy will in all cases and under all circumstances, and may always be agents of unity, peace, justice, and love, both in our country and across the world. We ask all of them, for you are our Creator and Savior, and in you we offer glory, honor, and worship, now and forever, and in the ages of ages. Amen. Thank you. Good night.
All right, the chair recognizes the delegate of Oregon.
Mr. Chairman, My name is Russ Walker from the great state of Oregon, and I make a motion that this convention do now adjourn.
Thank you. The question now occurs on the motion to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted. Accordingly, the convention stands adjourned until 7:10 tomorrow. Thank you.